Imagine this. You're on an operating table, a surgeon carefully removing a tumor. Suddenly, every screen in the room flashes blue. The MRI, the ventilator, the patient records, all dead. This isn't a scene from a movie. This was the reality in a London hospital on July 19, 2024, the day a single software update crashed 8.5 million computers across the globe. What happened? A company called CrowdStrike, a name you might not know but whose software runs on millions of systems, pushed out a routine security update for its Falcon platform. But this update wasn't routine. It contained a critical bug, a digital tripwire that sent Windows systems, from hospital mainframes to airline check-in counters, into a catastrophic blue screen of death loop. Within hours, the world ground to a halt. Over 12,000 flights were canceled, leaving passengers stranded on tarmacs in scorching heat. In hospitals from Australia to America, critical cancer treatments were postponed, surgeries were stopped mid-procedure, and doctors were locked out of patient files. The global economy took a multi-billion-dollar hit. Small businesses, like one in Mumbai that lost its entire payment system during peak hours, faced financial ruin. CrowdStrike and their biggest partner, Microsoft, called it an unfortunate incident. They released statements, promised fixes, and tried to calm the panic. But what if I told you this was no accident? What if the evidence suggests this wasn't just a bug, but a calculated move in a high-stakes corporate game with your safety and security as the collateral damage? Stick with me, because the story they don't want you to hear is far more disturbing than a simple software glitch. Let's rewind. The relationship between Microsoft and CrowdStrike is key. Microsoft, the titan of operating systems, relies on security partners to protect its Windows ecosystem. CrowdStrike is one of their star players. Microsoft even promotes CrowdStrike's Falcon sensor as a top-tier security solution for its enterprise customers. They have a vested interest in CrowdStrike's success. How vested? Well, they're a significant stakeholder in the company. This partnership is supposed to mean stronger, more reliable security for everyone. But it seems something went wrong. Internal documents and reports from security researchers that have since come to light suggest that potential issues with the Falcon sensor's interaction with Windows weren't entirely unknown. In the fast-paced world of cybersecurity, developers are constantly balancing the release of new protections against the risk of unforeseen conflicts. It's a high-wire act. On that fateful Friday in July, the wire snapped. The specific update, known as Channel File 704, was designed to enhance threat detection. Instead, it triggered a fatal conflict within the Windows kernel, the very core of the operating system. It was like a bad blood transfusion for the digital world. Any machine running CrowdStrike's Falcon sensor on Windows was vulnerable. As the first reports trickled in from Australia and Asia, where the day had already begun, a terrifying pattern emerged. It wasn't just a few isolated computers. It was entire networks. Banks, media outlets, supermarkets, and critical infrastructure were all going dark. The ripple effect was immediate. When an airline's check-in system fails, planes don't fly. When a hospital's network crashes, patient care is compromised. The official response was swift, but was it transparent? CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz took to social media, tweeting that they were aware and actively working on it. Microsoft activated its crisis response teams. They worked together to develop and distribute a fix, a painstaking process of manually booting machines in safe mode and rolling back the faulty update. For IT teams around the world, it was an all-hands-on-deck, weekend-long nightmare. They told the world it was a deeply regrettable error. They apologized for the disruption, but as the dust settled, troubling questions began to surface. How could a bug of this magnitude slip through what are supposed to be the most rigorous testing protocols in the industry? And in the aftermath, how did the key players behave? This is where the story takes a turn. Let's look at the timeline. The catastrophic update went live, and chaos ensued. While global systems were in meltdown and people's lives were being directly impacted, financial data shows that some executives and early investors in CrowdStrike engaged in significant stock sales in the period leading up to the event. Now, to be clear, executives sell stock for many reasons, often through pre-scheduled plans. But the timing of these sales, in retrospect, has raised serious questions among financial analysts and the public. Did someone know a major disruption was on the horizon? Then there's the response to the victims. While IT departments were scrambling, what was the official guidance? Both companies focused on the technical fix. But what about the hospitals that had to turn away cancer patients? Or the small business owner in Mumbai who watched his life's work evaporate in a matter of hours because his payment terminals were useless? The public apologies felt hollow when set against the scale of the human and financial cost. This incident has pulled back the curtain on the incredible fragility of our interconnected world. We place immense trust in a handful of tech giants. We trust that their software is safe, that their updates are tested, and that their primary motive is our security, not just their stock price. But this event shows how quickly that trust can be broken. A single line of faulty code from one company can trigger a global chain reaction because of the complex web of dependencies they have built. Was this event preventable? Cybersecurity experts are now debating this fiercely. Some argue that in a system this complex, catastrophic failures are inevitable. They point to the speed at which a fix was developed as a sign that the system, while flawed, ultimately worked. They say that pointing fingers and alleging bad faith is unhelpful, but others disagree. They argue that a failure of this magnitude implies a systemic issue in the testing and deployment process. It suggests a culture that prioritizes speed over safety. They ask why there wasn't a more effective rollback mechanism in place, a digital kill switch that could have stopped the update's deployment the moment the first problems were detected in Australia. This event has become a massive wake-up call. For governments, it highlights the vulnerability of critical national infrastructure. For businesses, it's a stark reminder of the importance of diversifying their security solutions and having robust contingency plans. And for us, the public, it's a lesson in the hidden power that these tech companies wield over our daily lives. The truth of what happened in the days and weeks leading up to July 19th is still being pieced together. Investigations are underway, and the full story has yet to be told. But one thing is certain. The narrative of a simple, unavoidable bug doesn't quite add up when you look at the bigger picture. The complex financial ties, the timing of certain actions, and the sheer scale of the failure demand a deeper, more critical look. We need to ask the hard questions. Are the companies we trust to protect our digital lives also the ones who stand to gain from digital chaos? Are we just pawns in a larger corporate game where profits are prioritized over people? The answers are uncomfortable, but we have to seek them out. Because the next time a screen goes blue, it might not just be an inconvenience. It could be a matter of life and death. Thank you for watching. The conversation about this doesn't end here. It's crucial that we all stay informed and demand transparency and accountability from the tech giants that shape our world. If you found this information valuable, please share this video, hit the like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter. Stay safe and stay curious.